This is the final hour of the Wednesday edition of Today here on eNCA DSTV Channel 43 with me, Dan Moyana. We begin here. A fire at a school in Atteridgeville in Tshwane has now been extinguished. Zodwa Special School caught fire this morning, and it's unclear if any of the students on site were injured. More information was coming through a little bit earlier. Reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones is on the ground. Pule, good afternoon again. We understand that thankfully no pupils were injured or affected or hurt in any way, but 2 people have died, 4 others in hospital seriously injured. What's the latest you can tell us?
Well, yes, indeed, 2 people have died and 4 others injured as a result of a gas explosion at the Atteridgeville Special School, known as Zodwa School as well, here in the west of Pretoria. But to give us an update on really where we stand currently in terms of information is the MEC for Education in Gauteng. MEC, thank you very much for chatting to us right now. Let's talk about the latest in terms of where we are and the investigations as well, Mr. Matome. What is it that we have pertaining to the information that you have as a department?
Well, so far, good evening. So far, what we know is that there's one suspect that's been apprehended. The allegations that he was fired yesterday and then lost his temper, and somehow he managed to get access into the school premises and there was a gas leak. But that is obviously an allegation up until it's proven. That's why we've said that we want to get a full report as to what would have happened. And what we've done, obviously, so far, we've dispatched our psychosocial unit to come and speak to our learners, debrief our learners, and also our staff, because it can be easy to have an incident where you have people who die on the school premises, especially in the manner that they passed on.
Obviously, this speaks to issues of safety and security as well. Is this a concern? I mean, we often see or hear about such incidences taking place in schools as well, where there are little ones learning as well. What will be the next step in terms of upgrading security in that school here?
Ordinarily, the security was supposed to be tight. That's something that obviously we'll wait for the report as to how did the alleged perpetrator found himself into the school premises. And so those are the things that would wait for a report to really to finalize that aspect. But it is, security is a big issue, as you know, in our schools, and it's an issue that we take very highly. So going forward, I'm sure the school will ensure that they tighten their security measures, because they do have security on site.
4 others injured as well in this incident. Is there an update on that as to whether they're still okay and they're still fine?
So far, no. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have an update on that one.
Okay. And then what happens now? You've spoken to the families as well. Will you be visiting the next family in terms of support? What kind of support will the department be giving them?
Obviously, because remember, it's an employee who passed on while on duty. So I'm sure there should be some form of benefits in place from the employer and employee perspective. So that intervention will be there. But as a department, we'll continue to dispatch what we always do, our unit to assist the families, because I know the families have not taken it kindly. As you know, they were young people and they were very optimistic about their future to change the conditions of the families. So we'll also be on standby should they need a support, psychosocial support as well.
Also, is it something that you may be looking to in terms of hazardous resources and any tools being around the school as well? I mean, this incident happened just close to the classrooms where the pupils usually learn. Anything could have happened there if there wasn't any quick intervention. The issue around hazardous tools as well, is this something as a department you think you should be looking into?
I wouldn't say. I'm sure the school took the necessary steps, because obviously if it was too close, as you say, too close, I'm sure then we would be speaking something else. But I saw that the place has been cordoned off, and which is what that should happen. Usually I always say to them that I would rather not have a situation where there's construction that takes place during school hours. But however, because of the different pressures that we have, sometimes schools are forced to do that, and they cordon off But as long as the area is cordoned off and it's safe and secured, it's fine.
Let me see. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm just want to also speak to one of the family members of the deceased as well. Ma, thank you very much. O kana o kwa tlubutsa fela o buele da fela. Ka taba gore le latlhegetse is le lapa. Le ikutla yang se lapa mo le latlhegetse. O kana tomela hanyane fela. Le bikang
kwa botlo. A ona ntwe re ka ira. Ne re lebeletse dilo tse ntse mo yona mangwana. Ya no o tsamaya ga ona ntho re ka ira ene o tlhokofetse setlogo ngwana
na no ngwa me kae
21 years.
Baba education department ba re batlo le thusa yang as family se lapa
ba re batla tla mo garabe ke batho bolela le rena re tla no bona ka bona ka re ngwana a bereke o bereka ntata na me bereko sa re se santse ba no re thusa ka re a rena tšhelete dipoloko le re maketse mo re leng papa wa iponna le wena ka mane
go tsagetseng tota
ona ko Zodwa kwa ba re ga se thuntšitše o moane o iphusitše a laeta a ba tswalela ka mogare ka mola ba swela ka mogare ba bangwe ba kgone go tswa ba ya sepetlele ba bangwe ba ko ICU go tlhokofetse ba babedi mošemane wa rena le ngwanyana o nna ko Ramapula
ba ba tswaletse ka mogare classroom
mošemane o ne a fiša mola ra ba mo patela ra ba ba patele batho ba ba berekang ka bo
and then o tlhokofetse nna le bana
a se gala feditše matric
and then as family ya no ba tabatsa gore le phone family members tse ding di lokise
a re tse re bereka bjang a ke re bjanong o swele santse ke e tlo ba nako e telele a re itse re tlo bereka bjang re tla bona mo bekeng.
Thank you very much. Britan is one of the family members chatting to us in brief, saying that they don't know how they will now, embark on the burial process because there's simply no money. The family simply does not have money. The Department of Education in Gauteng said that they will assist the family in any way they could. They'll be back again. The officials from the department will be back again here on during the week as well, next week. But as far as we understand is that the suspect who has been taken into police custody allegedly locked the door where one of the deceased who was residing here was working, and then this is where the incident happened, where the gas canister was then triggered and resulted into an explosion, and we now know that it seems as though that is the version which the police are using in regards to finalizing the investigation as well, because we're getting that version from the Department of Education and from the family as well. The family are really, really heartbroken with the tragic incident that has happened. They were not expecting, these kind of sad news as well. And it seems as though the deceased was a breadwinner here for the family as well. So it is really quite a sad, sad day for the family here. And they waiting the outcome of the police investigations and, of course, the necessary support from the Department of Education as well.
A very young person who just finished their matric recently was starting to work, and it's ended in this tragedy. Thank you very much, Pule Letshwiti-Jones in Atteridgeville.